Hello, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Freedom Law School's Freedom Hour. I'm going to talk about the topic of how can you join a state assembly or a common law court to avoid filing and paying U.S. income taxes. I am Peymon Mottahedeh, the president of Freedom Law School, which I created in 1996. Before we get into the topic, I'm going to share you some of my most interesting books I got, which relates to all this. I have an American Dictionary of the English Language, Noah Webster, 1828 actual reprint. These are some of the interesting books I got in my library. I'm going to show you all quickly. This is the Black's Law Dictionary, 1910 reprint, to see legal definition of things that over 100 years ago the courts and legislatures went by. Of course, anybody who wants to know about common law, guess what? The book about common law is Jones's, okay, and Blackstone, okay? So Blackstone's commentaries, this is actually half. The other half is behind me, you see, on the shelves, okay? And here I have a course on American and English law, a lot of common law in here. This course is from the early 1900s. That's why the book is kind of a little messed up there. It's the actual book, not a reprint. And I also have in my library, amongst other books, Bouvier's Law Dictionary. This goes to the 1830s. This is actually one of several volumes of Bouvier's Law Dictionary. This is what the courts and lawmakers used in the early 1800s to reference and understand law and how to interpret and write laws. So with having said that, folks, let's go to the topic of state assembly, common law courts, okay? Before I go on, let me just show you Freedom Law School's website, adlibfreenow.org, folks. Okay, I've said for a long time that there is no law requiring 99% of Americans to file and pay income tax, right? And livefreenow.org, our website, is on this topic. And this short introduction is only 9 minutes long. You should watch this 9-minute video about this issue because it shows you how you have been robbed with deception. Okay, we're going to get into this a little bit later, but I'm going to get back to the topic on hand. Okay, just a little bit know you who Freedom Law School is. Now, before I get into this issue, I gotta give credit where the credit is due. The person responsible for the state assembly movement and common law court movement now in 2021 is Anna von Reitz of Alaska. Yes, I did get involved in 1992 in the freedom movement at that time, and I did go and speak at a common law court of back then. I think it was 1995 that I attended and spoke at one of those meetings in Orange County, California. But today's movement, the person who gets credit for that is Anna von Reitz. So let's go to her website to get more familiar with what Anna is speaking about. So here's her website, the American State Assemblies, okay, tasa.americanstatenationals.org. So when you go on there, you see on the left, that's a picture of Anna von Reitz. The middle one that turned, we're going to click on that a little bit to see more. And when you go there, folks, here that's what you see. The factual states that are these assemblies have been formed. There's a map of the 50 states. And you go below that, there's two important powerful charts in the bottom of this page, which I particularly I'm fond of certain parts of it. So let me tell you about that, okay? You go on the bottom of this, and the chart on the left pretty much is similar to the right one. We click on that, and what we see on there is, see it out. Okay, let's make it a little bit bigger if you can. I guess that can make it bigger. It was hard to see, so I'm going to zoom on this page a little bit more for you guys so you can see it better. Okay, well, you see the way the power is supposed to flow in America. This is very good point, because the power is supposed to flow from we the people. Okay, I guess this website is not very good to enlarge. I'm going to go back to where I was. Here we go. What it shows on the left, folks, you see the people at the top of the pyramid. Then below that, city and county, those are local governments. Above that, the state. And that is correct. That is the way American system of government is supposed to be. We the people, we created the government. The government is really a tool, a creation of we the people, all of us, to get together and protect us from the robbers, murderers, rapists, and others who want to hurt us. Okay, so we formed the local group, county, maybe even a city, and then those local groups or counties together form the state. Okay, and then from the state you get the Federation of the States, which is the United States of America. So that is correct. Okay, and then of course the flow on the right side shows is being inverted upside down, where you see on the right side the blue pyramid that people are at the bottom, then above that city, county, and the state, then above that Federation of States, like the United States of America with the U.S. Constitution that you see there. Okay, so that part of it is fine. Okay, let's go to the next page that Anna has on her website. But first you need to know who is putting this together, okay? The person putting this together is Anna von Reitz. This is another page of her, annavonreitz.com, okay? And this page is the index of the writings of Judge Anna von Reitz from Big Lake, Alaska. Now, she claims to be a judge. All right. Well, folks, I could call myself a judge if I were to do that. Wouldn't you ask me, Peymon, prove that you're a judge? That would be a fair question for you to ask. I would have to prove to you I'm a judge, but I'm not a judge. I'm also not an attorney. I represent people in court. I'm not a lawyer. So I'm telling you the truth. I'm not an attorney, lawyer, or judge. I'm just a regular, self-taught legal scholar. Any of you could be just like me if you just learn about this stuff. But Anna claims she's a judge, and she's not a judge. And right there, folks, would that be not the cause of concern for you? Someone calling themselves a judge and not being a judge? Well, let's go to her website, the Jural Assembly Handbook. Here it is, picture of Anna von Reitz she has on there. And in this booklet that she has written, in 2019, and you'll see this handbook, table of contents, there's interesting sections. What got my attention is section 3. This is not an opinion. Page 8, right? This is very important, folks, because law is not supposed to be opinion. It's not like religion. Someone believes in Islam, Allah, or Christian, or Muslim, or Buddhist, or Shih Tzu, or Hindu. People have differing opinions on that. But law should be black and white. This pen is red with some white on it and the blue handle. This is not an opinion, it's a fact. So I'm going to look at this issue. On her handout here, which she calls the Jural Assembly Handbook, we will go now to page 8 about this is not opinion and read about that a little bit more. First, Anna says that she and her husband climbed out from under their rock in 1998 when they became freedom lovers. That was 6 years after me. And in 2015, 17 years later, they issued their own sovereign letters patent. Sovereign letters patent. Well, if this is such an important thing, why not do that? Why form these state assemblies if a sovereign letter patent is the thing to do? Well, anyhow, so that's something for you to consider why that would be the case. Now, in this article, 1842, Anna tells us her understanding of state assemblies and jural assemblies, okay? And it just says that Anna's forming state assemblies and jural assemblies as part of the state assemblies. And the right to assemble jural duties, as well as all of our duties of self-governments, are based on the Declaration of Independence and agreed upon and confirmed by all 3 federal constitutions. Okay? Well, folks, I love and respect the Declaration of Independence. You call Freedom Law School, we'll mail you free of charge. There's a rule book. Has the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and more from Founding Fathers in here. You carry it with you in your pocket, anywhere you go, for reference. Okay, now Anna says that what she's doing is to that end. Okay, that's the goal. I love freedom. I appreciate Anna stands up for that. Now she says there's a group of unnamed people going around like Chicken Little claiming that we do not have the right to form our own courts and execute justice in our own county, and that jural assemblies are dangerous. Okay, well, this is where the rubber meets the road. So what she says is that these assemblies, state assemblies, basically have the right to form your own courts and execute justice in our own county, in our own country. Okay. So basically, these jural societies can form their own courts, have their own sheriffs, and someone accused of murder, bring him to a jury trial, indict him, upon jury trial conviction, sentence him to death. Or someone stole, and for that they could be indicted, brought to trial, convicted by a jury, and then sentenced. Okay? And arrest warrants could be issued, okay, for people who are indicted by a grand jury to be put to trial. The courts can order people to become available, come to court and testify. Okay? Well, is that so? Well, folks, this is the key thing. Way back in 1995, in Orange County, California, where I used to live, in Tustin, California, I spoke before a common law jury at the time. Same idea, which was that we the people, which we created a government, which is true, we created a government, have the right to create our own form of government if the existing government is not serving us correctly. And that is true. Yes. The Declaration of Independence does say we have a right to alter and abolish a government that's not serving the people. That is very true. And these people were, as I said, creating their own courts, issuing orders, people signing a piece of paper as judge, sent to a local sheriff to arrest somebody, and on some occasions the sheriff did act on those common law court orders and did different legal things until the sheriff and the courts realized that these courts were not the regular courts. They were not the regular California superior courts, that you all know and exists, go there for all kind of stuff, legal stuff. It's not the same. It's some people meeting in some office space and issuing these things on their own, these papers on their own. So what happened is that the regular courts issued arrest warrants for the leaders of these groups, and they arrested them, and these groups all disappeared. They all went away. Wait a minute. If, as Anna says, we have the right to form our own courts and execute justice in our own country, why is it that these courts were disbanded, these assemblies were disbanded? Well, that's because there's one fundamental principle of government that a lot of patriots do not understand and they forget. And my friend Anna, unfortunately, does not discuss much. That is a question of power. How did we, the American people, get our independence from King of England? Did we just simply form our own jural societies, state assemblies, and told the King of England that, hey, you're no longer king, we the people are king, and you're out of here, we're going to run our own lives and form our own courts and execute our justice in our own country? No. That's not how it happened. The Founding Fathers did have their own assemblies. Yes, they got together. And they did issue petitions, requests from the king to stop violating our rights in so many different ways. Their petitions were ignored. And at some point, the Founding Fathers finally did what they had to do, which was at Lexington, the British Redcoats murdered a bunch of innocent patriots, and the Founding Fathers did what they had to do. They took up arms. And by violent self-defense means, guns, they revolted and started shooting at the soldiers, redcoat soldiers of King George of England. And that, over the course of time, led to the American Revolution's success. We physically beat the king's army in the colonies, the 13 original colonies that later became 13 independent, sovereign states. See, King George was busy in Europe fighting with France and didn't want to have too much troops focused on that little colony called America, because after all, it was only 2.5 million people lived in the 13 colonies, and it was way out there. He was more worried about France right next door to England. So we got our freedom, we got our jurisdiction in our courts and independent by violent self-defense means of protecting ourselves from King George of England. See, and that's the key thing, folks. We got the power. The Founding Fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, all those guys, they got the physical power. With that physical power, then they formed their own 13 separate countries in 1776, and in 1789 they created a federal government. The states did that, and they delegated very few specific powers to the federal government. Coin money, standard money for all the states, common immigration rules, common defense, and a few other specific powers. The federal government is an agent of the states. The states are sovereign. Just like France, Italy, and Germany are sovereign countries and states within the European Union, which is about over 20 states in that union now. Same thing we had created in America. So power, folks, is key. You got to have physical power to enforce your jurisdiction, to enforce your law. The founding fathers paid a heavy price. Many people died, lost their homes, their wives, children, limb, eyes, legs were torn apart to give us the freedom, because they physically had to overcome the king and his troops. So what's missing here with Anna von Reitz and his state assemblies is the power. Okay? These government courts, government sheriffs, they have the power. They have a lot more guns, a lot more number of people with guns trained than these jural societies, state assemblies, common law courts. So unless and until you choose to actually do that kind of violent revolution, overcome the county sheriff, you cannot do that. You simply cannot do that. It will not work. Eventually, the group gets bigger. Each of these orders of these state assemblies are going to be recognized by the sheriff and the courts, regular courts, as not being their courts. And they're going to come down and put some of the leaders of those state assemblies, common law courts in prison, indict them, put them in trial, and everybody's going to get scared and run off. That's exactly what happened, folks. Back in 1995, I was there. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it. Today, same thing is happening. Let me go take you to our website, okay? On our blog, under State versus Citizenship Theory Reconsidered, I have in this article, you see here a link to sovereign citizen Bruce Doucette. You see here, and how he was, indicted for doing the stuff that Anna von Reitz is telling people to do. Yes, this was May 22, 2018. Sovereign citizen Bruce Doucette sentenced to 38 years. And guess what? He was a follower of Anna von Reitz. Oh, back then, she claimed she was Judge Anna von Reitz. By the way, before I go on, Anna, I love you as a patriot. I love where your heart's coming from. I love where your intent comes from. Okay? But I'm sorry, you are unwittingly believing this theory and leading people to slaughter like happened here to Bruce Doucette. I'm happy to debate you on Freedom Law Freedom Hour anytime you want. Any of you know Anna, tell her I'll be happy to debate her. Okay? Discuss that with her and let you all decide at Freedom Law School's weekly Freedom Hour. Okay? So it's not I'm bad-mouthing. I've talked to Anna. She's a very likable lady. I have nothing personally against her, but I don't want people go to prison or lose their stuff like Bruce Doucette did here. And you see, here's a Bruce Doucette. Yep. There it is. He was charged with all kind of stuff. He was domestic paper terrorism, So basically, guess what he did, Bruce Doucette? In 2015 and 16, like Anna von Reitz, Doucette gave himself the title Superior Court Judge. Yep, called himself a judge and traveled around the state instructing local people how to set up common law court operations. You see that, folks? Yep, common law court operations. That's what he told them to do. and he got 38 years, basically a life in prison. Do you want to do that? It's your free will. I cannot stop you. I love you. I care about your health, safety, and welfare. But it's up to you, my friend, to learn from others' mistakes or repeat it. Because they say, those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. You want to repeat that? You're welcome to try it. And just like Bruce just said, set up these common law courts and call yourself a judge, just like Anna von Reitz, okay? So, and this lady on YouTube did a more detailed story about this, okay? This is all a YouTube title called Anna von Reitz student sentenced 38 years in prison. He was put on May 23rd, 2018. Now listen, folks, I don't like the crooks in government. I'm not pro-IRS. I'm not pro these crooked politicians, Republican or Democrats. I'm 100% libertarian, freedom-loving American. Came from Iran in a Jewish family where we had no freedoms, any of us in Iran, in 1977, to America, the land of the free, home of the brave, to found freedom. I found myself in the land of the meek and home of the indentured slaves. I'm pro-freedom. Yes, I teach people the fraud of the income tax, deception of the Internal Revenue Code on the American people to enslave you to pay millions of dollars of your hard labor to pay these current enemies of the American people within the U.S. government who have hijacked the federal government and used it against you. FBI set up the so-called January 6th insurrection thing. They did themselves for a long time. Folks, 9/11 was the inside job. Folks, you all know this stuff. So I'm not one of the fan of these guys. But just because the crooks in government are running things doesn't mean we should do whatever some wonderful sounding patriot tells us to do. Like form common law courts, state assemblies. You do what works. In fact, let me ask you, can you give me one example from Anna von Reitz' website of victory? One victory that this has worked. One victory that anybody successfully stopped filing and paying income tax following Anna von Reitz's material. If they do, show it to me. I will humbly say, thank you for enlightening me. Yes, I want to be enlightened. I want to be corrected. I want to be right every time. Do they have it? No. She has no history of wins on her website. Anywhere. If it is, find it, please send it to Freedom Law School, okay? Now, I'm going to share some real victories. You want to see real victories? Yep. Go to Freedom Law School's website at livefreenow.org. Yep. What I keep saying, there is no law requiring 99% of Americans to file an income tax. Now, you go there on our website under victories. I'm sorry, under, here we go, victories. Drop down menu to Freedom Law School Victories over the IRS, and you see victories. Yes, folks, I myself have documented victories over the IRS. I'll show my own with more details, and our students have beat them also. Yes, there's a track record of success. Don't believe me? I'll show it to you right now. Government's own documentation. The IRS documentation, U.S. tax court, yes, you'll see. I've kicked these guys' butts since 1992. I've been beating them. Look, okay? Victory number one I have here, okay? Okay, and number two, number three. I got more, by the way, I got to put up there, okay? The first one, by the way, IRS has been investigating Freedom Law School in Peymon since 1994. Yes. And still unable to stop Freedom Law School and Peymon from exposing IRS's deception and robbery of the American people. Folks, they looked at me back then in 1994, folks. You know what they looked at me? Here it is. As a potential fraudulent tax protester promoter. Potential fraudulent tax protester promoter. Boy, that's pretty serious, isn't it? Back in 1994, they're looking at me. And they haven't been able to stop me. I've been under investigation continuously by the IRS. Criminal investigation otherwise, and they cannot stop me. That's a win by itself. Look at this. I'm not in jail. How come? I'm not filing income tax for over 30 years. I did a 1992 1040 NR as a sovereign citizen, I thought. Wrong one. Back in 1993, which IRS rejected. But other than that, haven't paid a dime of income tax on my own choice. I had been told for my job back in 1992, a little bit, $600. And I haven't filed it off for over 30 years. How come the IRS does not try to put me in prison? Right? Because they know I'm doing it the right way, and they don't want to give me a big win by putting me in a jury trial that I'll beat. And that's going to give me a lot more credibility that I beat them. That's why. Let's see more. So documentation is right here. On the click here, on the bottom left, you see documentation right here. Yep. Look at this, folks. This is case history worksheet of the agent looked at Freedom Law School back then. And you see, on the top right, Paul von Ravensburg looked at Peymon Mottahedeh on the top left. And in the notes of him, guess what? You got to look at your website on your computer more closely. Received case from manager, or MGR, developed and referred potential fraudulent tax protester promoter. Left of that, Sugary CID. Look at all the entries in yellow. Sugary CID. Sugary CID. Yep. All of you see. Oh, look at all this stuff. There's more. Yep. On the next page here, Joseph Martinez CID. Okay. So this is proof, folks. What I do works. Even back then it worked. Now it's much better. What Freedom Law School does. Right? Let's go to another victory. Victory number 2. Freedom Law School beats IRS in its own $700,000 case. That's right. Folks, in December 2009, IRS filed liens, tax liens against me for about $700,000. Folks, that's over 10 years of taxes. Liens they filed. Guess what? I had them removed it in just 2 years. Look at this. You want some victories? Real buildings against IRS? There it is. Read about it stuff. All documentation is there. I'm going to open up one of those. Okay? Here is one withdrawal of the tax liens they filed. Here it is, December 29, 2011 on the top right. Peymon Mottahedeh. The IRS wrote to me, right? Enclosed, it says what? A copy of second paragraph of the Form 10916C, withdrawal of filed notice of federal tax lien, right? That we mailed to the local recording office for filing. Yep. And I'm going to go down to the actual one of those pages, many, many pages. This is, folks, multiple pages of releases were filed of liens because they put a lot of liens on me. Pages and pages of liens. Here's a withdrawal. There it is. Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, withdrawal of filed notice of federal tax lien, right? Look at it. Taxpayer name, Peymon Mottahedeh, my address in California. Look at all this, folks. Tax periods. You're on the second column on the left, right? All the assessments are in the middle column, third from the right. Look at the unpaid balance. On this page, $99,000. Filed in Oakland, California. Prepared in Oakland, California. December 2011, they filed it. Yep. All these are withdrawn, and there's page after page of these liens withdrawal. Yep. Now that's track record you can bank on. Not some self-anointed common law state assembly that, somebody's business or office of garage you do, right? Here's another one. Victory number 3. Here it is, folks. In 2003 to 2016, Freedom Law School beats IRS's bogus claim of Freedom Law School being an abusive tax shelter promoter. Yes. Folks, what the IRS did since 2003 or before, they started looking at Freedom Law School as an abusive tax shelter promoter as the excuse to take me to a government court judge and have them close Freedom Law School. Trump-Russia conspiracy hoax fell apart in 3 years. IRS investigation of Peymon, Freedom Law School, completely collapsed in 2016. They rolled me and admitted it. Here's the proof. There's actual documentation. Yep. You can open it up right there in the first paragraph. The hyperlink is there. There it is. Internal Revenue Service in San Diego, California. On the top right, July 11, 2016. Wrote to me in this. Okay. And what does it say? Dear Mr. Mottahedeh, we are discontinuing our investigation into whether you are liable for a penalty under Internal Revenue Code sections blah, 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 blah. They're discontinuing it. That's it. They stopped it. See? Roma Patel, revenue agent. And folks, the original letters, when the IRS came after me, is in the other link right here. Okay, the original claims, you can go check it out on your own. On the bottom of the paragraph, there's a link to that. Here it is, folks. You see it coming up right now momentarily. Well, the actual investigation paperwork is there. It's come up a little slowly. Check it out for yourself. So, folks, you don't need to go to some jural society to be free. You can follow what Freedom Law School is doing, which works, and now it's better than ever. I'm going to show you how to do it. The real way the Founding Fathers did. Yes. We will do it like George Washington, Patrick Henry, Thomas Jefferson. Yes, we'll do it like John Hancock of those guys. This is how. Okay? Okay, so anyhow, oh, there it is. It came up. You can see, link all this stuff is documented, folks, that you want to see at our website. Yep, let's go to, here we go. On our website, folks, what you want to do, at livefreenow.org, go under petitions. Click on petitions on the drop-down menu at livefreenow.org, and I'll show you that you should write petitions to U.S. Congress to lawfully free yourself from IRS deception, robbery, and slavery for free. Yes, you can do it for free. You don't have to give me anything. You can do it for free yourself if you want to. If you want me to back you up also, and that's fine. I'll do that too. It's your choice though. Let me show you how you can do it for free yourself, okay? So when you go to this page, you scroll down, watch a short video about the process, why you should write Congress, about IRS and Department of Injustice Deception, to free yourself of income tax, robbery, and slavery, okay? And there's instructions on how to do this process. Why is this so important, okay? Gives you an overview. And then at the bottom, there's right now 4 petitions, 4 key petitions. The bottom left is on the individual income taxes. Second one is on income tax withholding, W-4 and W-2 form. Third one is on Social Security and Medicare taxes. And the last one is on 1099s, W-2 form, and self-employment taxes. I'm probably going to do maybe 1 or 2 more petitions coming up about the Satan surveillance number, otherwise called the slave surveillance number. Or they call it the social security number, but it's not. I'm going to do on that too. But right now, let's focus on the first one. Okay? Individual income taxes. Go on the yellow gold on the bottom left and open that link in a new tab, and it gets you to this page. Okay? And here, this page. And it's headline. This is a sample of these petitions. How can I lawfully and safely free myself from filing and paying U.S. income taxes? Yes, you can do it. You could save millions of dollars in your lifetime, not give it to your enemies who have taken over the federal government, and then use your labor, your work, your money. They use it to destroy you and slave you further. You can write to Congressman, as I'll show you. Here, let's go down. The sample petitions right here, where I'm going over it. The black and green goes back and forth. But you should watch the presentation here on how to avoid tax prison 100% of the time. 100% effective strategy to keep you free and out of federal prison for not filing and paying U.S. income taxes that by law you do not owe. Yes. The only ones that owe it, and I show it, is citizens and residents of Washington, D.C., and anybody who gets money performing functions of federal public office, like soldiers, federal bureaucrats, post office workers, that kind of thing. Okay? So watch that video, and then the overview is here of the process written here. Okay, follow the details and procedures on this page carefully. But here is I'm going to open up the actual petition to Congress, and it's right here. It's addressed to your congressman, 2 senators, and your House member. And it's about justification for congressional investigation of the income tax collection illegally, deceptively, by the IRS's management. It's really Satan, central authority management. They want to control you from this earthly authority. You pay them, and they know what to do for you with your money. That's the satanic, communist, socialist system, attitude, and agenda. And you ask them humbly in this letter to correct you if you're wrong, right? To investigate them, and if you're wrong, tell you. In the letter, everything you see, folks, is cited from government's official legal websites or U.S. Supreme Court decision. All the quotes are exactly verbatim from the law. Here it is, the CFR 1.1-1A1, exactly verbatim in the letter, okay? And it's attached, listed and attached to the end of the petition that is here, okay? Now, and you tell your congressman, folks, I believe every person should pay their fair share of income taxes according to the law. I have shown you who is required to pay their fair share, which I told you is who? Federal government workers and citizens and residents of Washington, D.C., not you in the 50 states. The letter shows that clearly, right? Lays it out. So we follow the laws of the Congress and the Treasury Department interpretation of those laws, and by applying the principles the U.S. Supreme Court considers obvious and well established. Okay? I've shown like you that, like me, most Americans are not included on a list of those who are liable to pay the income tax, right? So, basically, you tell them this. If by reading this letter with attached, Internal Revenue Code, IRC and CFR sections, and Supreme Court cases, you can show me that I'm somehow misinterpreting statutes, regulations, or U.S. Supreme Court decisions, that I do owe federal income taxes, I will gladly pay all taxes due and will consider such payment to be my fair share. You see, folks, you're willing to pay a fair share, but the fact is you don't have a share in the beginning at all. You don't owe it at all. You owe zero income tax. You can be free, lawfully, safely. And then the letter says that when your independent research verifies my discovery that the U.S. individual income tax does not apply to the average Americans like me in the 50 states, I urge you to educate other Congress members about this matter and see if they agree that this justifies conducting an investigation to expose the truth about this government renegade conspiracy and put an end to impoverishing Americans. I look forward to your timely, specific, and on-point reply. Yep, folks, you can't get any more laser on point than here. The laws are attached. Here it is. Look at this, folks. Attachment. All the laws in the letter are listed here, A through J. And you see them attached and the relevant language highlighted. This is the CFR 1.1-1, A1, which I read earlier for you, from government's official websites attached. There it is, folks. Supreme Court cases, all attached. You'll see it. Yep, this is Meese versus Keene with the relevant language, boom, in there, highlighted for ease of use. So, folks, you don't have to go for these baseless legal theories. You don't. I got a caller, someone who's joining Freedom Law School, becoming a Royal or Simple Freedom Package member. Right now, he's going to call. Okay, hang in there. Okay? Have him put through, guys, okay? He's area code 512 caller. He followed all the patriot mythologies out there. Okay? And finally, after over 30 years, is joining Freedom Law School. He even went to prison. Yes, for following baseless legal theories like state assembly, common law court, straw man, redemption, expatriation, repatriation, objecting to your name in capital letters, copyrighting your name, getting out of Admiralty Maritime statutory jurisdiction back under common law, using UCC 1-207, UCC 1-305, because you know about the bankruptcy of the United States with HR 192 back in 1933 with Roosevelt as a sovereign state citizen, and with revocation of election, and on and on and on. How do I know and name all of these various patriot freedom theories, folks? Because I started with those adhesion, contract, I forgot to mention other stuff, way back in 1992. Myself, just like you. But thank goodness within 2 years back in 1994, I found out I was being misled with a bunch of nonsense. And I started doing things right when I was small, when there was no Freedom Law School at that time. And that's why I'm free. Right now, the IRS cannot stop me, even though they have me under investigation. And I kick their butt, as you see. They try to get me civilly before a judge of their own judges, not with a jury of 12 American citizens, because they know I'll beat them. Do you want to be like these guys? Like Doucette? or like Freedom Law School. Here's the choice, folks. You want to be like this guy? Sovereign citizen Doucette, 38 years in prison. Take a chance at that. That's him, folks. There is jurisdiction in the court of law. Handcuffs on his hands. Or you want to be like Freedom Law School, like me, Peymon. Free. You got to make that choice, folks. I can only lead you to the information, the truth. Again, remember, the number one reason people in this movement don't win is because they're crooks in government. Bunch of satanic, communist, socialists have taken over the U.S. government. They no longer are the George Washington, Thomas Jefferson crowd. But the second reason is these baseless legal theories like the state assembly, common law, court, jural society, all this stuff. That's a second reason. Because instead of doing the right stuff, you know all the nonsense garbage. I'll call them patriot mythologies. They sound good, feel great, make sense. Whoa, sovereign citizen, founding fathers. Yeah, I'm a Judge Anna. I'm a Judge Bruce Doucette. Ooh, but they're utter nonsense. So, folks, it's up to you. Those who don't learn from history are bound to repeat it. Don't be one of those folks. I've shown you history. And I'll tell you, I've seen for the last 29 years, patriots like you lose and go back to system and they say, you can't do it. No, don't do it for Freedom Law School. That guy named Ken was telling one of my students, don't do it because I did it. It didn't work. It will not work for you either because he did it wrong. He assumes I did it right, so there could be nobody else doing it right like Freedom Law School. So don't become one of them. You go down this road, you'll lose sooner or later. You're going to find out the hard way. Do you have the person on the phone right now? Talk to him, to our guest.
No one on the phone right now at all.
Okay, I'll interview him another time. Okay. So, to about his experience. Yes, he went to prison for a year and a half, following this patriot mythology. He says, Peymon, I heard about you 20 years ago, but I couldn't tell you from the others who is right, who is wrong. Everything seems so confusing. Everybody says they're right. I didn't know. Well, folks, look for proof. Look for documentation of victories. Where is Anna von Wright's victories? Using common law. State assembly. Zero. None. You saw my victories. And I got more. I haven't put on my website. There's more. So, do yourself a favor, folks. Join this proper, true restoration of our republic by petitioning Congress, like the founding fathers did. Yes, they petitioned Congress before they had to do a blood revolution in defense. So keep your powder dry, folks. Yes, Second Amendment of the Constitution is very important. Keep your guns safe, ready, loaded, but don't use them. Not yet. Keep them dry and in good shape. Exercise your First Amendment guaranteed right of speech, like I'm doing, associating with like-minded people, like I'm doing with you, press, publish stuff like I'm doing, assemble with like-minded people, and get it out there to petition Congress, our representatives in government, to represent us and stop the criminality of the executive and judicial branches. That's the problem. And we got to keep at it, keep at it. But listen, folks, if they don't listen to you, so what? You've done your work. You'll be free. You have a record of it. By certified mail, you send those letters to the congressman and keep a copy of those letters. And a certified mailing proof. I'll tell you the instruction on how to do that. Now, something else, folks. Freedom Law School is different. You see on our top left, we have a phone number for Freedom Law School right there, 813-444-4800. Why did I do that? The reason I put our phone number right there for you to see, because you're welcome to call us. And we'll help you, guide you through our website, guide you through our YouTube channel, our resources, okay? We're not going to just hide behind some text or email message. We actually will be on the phone to talk to you, guide you, then to help you understand there is no law requiring you to file income tax, right? So you can do it correctly and be free. So take advantage of it. By the way, I'm going to be speaking at the Red Pill Expo coming up, okay? If you guys at the November 6th and 7th in Lafayette, Louisiana, Red Pill Expo, I've spoken there before, redpillexpo.org, and it's going to be over 15 great freedom speakers. Here's on the left, Ed Griffin, G. Edward Griffin, the host. You see my most recent interview preview with me. Right there, I'll be speaking there, along with a dozen fantastic, great speakers of health, truth, and freedom you want to hear and see, folks. Yes. So don't miss it if you can. Come to Lafayette, Louisiana, and see me, along with the great speakers. If you can't make it, then go to redpillexpo.org and get the recording, the video recording of it. It's going to be live streamed and later available for sale also, okay? So do that, folks. It's a great event. You will love it. You want to be free, go to redpillexpo.org online or in person. Meanwhile, folks, remember to go to our website, livefreenow.org. Now, one more thing I want to add for you guys. A guy in Texas told me when he heard me speak, after the speech at Peymon, after hearing you, I thought I'm going to have to lawyer up, learn all this legal stuff, mumbo jumbo. I told him, no, you don't have to. The petitions are simple. But if you want someone to back you up to, I can do that, folks. What I've done, look at this on our website, Freedom Law School. I've created programs that I'll do everything for you, okay? You go under course packages to a Royal Freedom Package, and that's what is an option. You can do everything for free, folks. I'm not trying to take your money away from you. But if you want support, it's available. The Royal Freedom Package on how to lawfully and safely stop filing and paying income tax, and you get with it a unheard of 7-year $1 million guarantee. Yep, IRS will not take even $1 from your paycheck, bank account, or your property by force or levy for 7 years minimum. Otherwise, I will reimburse you. No one has anything like that out there. Freedom Law School is behind it. This is a 20-year-old program, 20-year track record behind this, okay? This is just a 1 year, less than a year-old warranty I just came up with, okay? And it could be as low as $500 a year for younger people. The younger you are, the less it is. You can go check it out, folks. More detail, watch more about it, about the Royal Freedom Package. At the bottom, there's a hyperlink to it. You can go there and check it out in more detail, okay? And folks, the cost is no problem. No problem. I allow every one of you to make a payment plan. If you need to make a payment plan, I will work with you. I promise you. And I would love to pay you up to $5,000 in cash or cryptocurrency for referring others to Freedom Law School to be free. Yes, $5,000. I want to pay you once a month. It's $5,000. Once a week, over $20,000 a month. I want to pay you cash by telling others about Freedom Law School. Go to your state assembly. Go to your common law court locally in your area. Tell them about Freedom Law School. Refer them to us, and I'll pay you $5,000. Every one of them that gets a Royal Freedom Package program, 35 and older, you're going to get that $5,000 cash. Pay for your own membership without paying me even $1. That's right. You can earn it just by referring others. Or refer and then get more cash in your pocket. Stop being a mechanic. Stop being a carpenter. Or whatever little thing you do. Or stop working at Walmart or some wage job. And promote freedom and be financially independent. and secure like you wanted to be all your life. So, check out Freedom Law School's website. Okay, livefreenow.org. Watch the 9-minute video here at the front. Go to the playlist that he put you in. Go to under education material, drop that menu. Dangers of filing income tax returns. The IRS is mostly bluff and more. And with that, folks, I'll give you my love. I do this because I love you to be free. Not a slave. The life you deserve to have with your family without being thrown into poverty by being robbed from of your hard-earned money, your hard work. You should have the life you want without being robbed. So the source is there. livefreenow.org. Now it's up to you. I cannot make you free. The decision is up to you. No more baseless legal theories. No more of this nonsense theories. Go to livefreenow.org and educate yourself to freedom now.